Alrighty, got a whole lot to talk about today. Welcome. This is Mornings with Mike on KTMP 1340, Heber City, Utah. We have a whole lot to get to, and so I'm going to try to get as much of this out as I possibly can. It's been an interesting few days for news and local events and things going on here in the Heber Valley, and we've got a lot to talk about. So my guest today is going to be Josh Wright of City First Mortgage. He's going to come talk to us about some of the great work that he does and help us get to know him a little bit better. So that should be fun, and just going to try to run through some of the things that are going on and see if we can get through some of it. I'd really like to invite you to get on to Facebook, go like the Mornings with Mike page, and really try to start interacting with us here. We need your feedback. We need to know what you're thinking. I need to know what you're thinking. I want to know if you agree or disagree with the things that are being said, how you feel about things, what your opinion is, what you like to hear on the show, what you don't like to hear, what's boring, what's interesting. Really want to get this show, really want to get the listenership. I mean, I have no idea how many people are listening, but I'd like it to be everybody in the valley if possible. So everybody turn on your radios, call your friends and neighbors, tell them to turn it on, and participate, because there's not very many venues where we can discuss local issues like this, and I tend to get distracted by national stuff, and I'll continue to kind of do that, I guess, but there just really aren't that many opportunities for us to discuss local stuff like this, and so I really want you to try to interact and participate. So hop onto Facebook, get onto the Mornings with Mike page, and tell me what you think. Be respectful, obviously. Don't say a bunch of rude stuff on there, but by all means, speak your mind. I've got a new poll up. The poll says, should Wasatch High School continue the practice of editing yearbook photos? And that is, of course, our top story. Just very briefly, traffic down both canyons, great. Nothing to really report on either side or headed up towards Strawberry. So it looks like it's smooth sailing today. The 5-day forecast looks like we're looking for a high of 84 this morning or today, with a low of 52. So it's really starting to warm up quite a bit. Gardens should be in by now, I guess. Tuesday 78, Wednesday 79, mostly sunny throughout the week. Thursday 80 and Friday 80. So it's going to be beautiful. I guess we get a small chance of rain coming in on Thursday and Friday, but looks like things are really looking nice there. So looking forward to having some beautiful weather like that. Pretty soon it'll be scorching hot, and so enjoy that while it lasts. Okay, last week, and really kind of over the weekend, it really just exploded. But obviously, Wasatch High School had their graduation, and congratulations to all our Wasatch High School graduates. I still haven't figured out why they did this, but we had like 50 valedictorians this year or something like that. It was kind of odd that it seems like everybody and their dog was the Wasatch High School valedictorian this year, but I don't know. I don't really understand how that process works and why they decided to have even more than one. But anyway, I went to the graduation. My little sister graduated from high school. So proud of her. The event center was hot. I hope that they find some solution to that in the future. They've got to get some airflow through that place, because it was sweltering. I mean, it was rough. I had all my little, we had all our little kids with us, and it was, it was not pleasant. So they eventually kind of opened some doors up that started to get a little bit of a breeze through, but it didn't help us up in the stands there. So I hope that I hope they find a resolution to that for the coming years, because that was rough. Anyway, but the big story, and I don't know if the high school or Wasatch County or our city or whatever has ever gained this much national attention. And Josh, I'll invite you into the conversation here and turn your microphone on. Actually, pull it out. There you go. Okay. So anyway, so feel free to interject when you'd like. But I don't know that we've ever gotten this much notoriety ever. I mean, even with the Winter Olympics, no one really knew. I mean, they knew Soldier Hollow and things that were going on there, but I mean, this made CNN top stories on Yahoo. I'm sure it was on Fox. I mean, it was major news. All the national outlets, all the Washington Post and the Chicago Tribune. I mean, everybody ran this story. I mean, it's crazy. If you're not aware, just a little recap. When the high school took their yearbook photos, apparently they took them before the school year even started, which I don't quite understand why they did that. But anyway, so they took the yearbook photos before the school year even started, and they put up a sign. They didn't send anything out to the parents. They didn't. They didn't make a huge deal about it, but they did put up a big sign there at registration that said, just so you know, your clothing needs to be in line with our dress code, and if it's not, your photo might be edited to fix it. And I know they've already done this before. There were people upset about it last year and probably the year before. So it's kind of interesting that this same thing just went viral this year. But I think at issue more than anything was that they edited some people's photos and they didn't edit others. Now, I don't know, Josh, do you know of any boys that were edited at all?
No, not that I'm aware of. I know that was one of the big concerns, is that they had many of them that were and some of that weren't, and
right.
So I think there were some inconsistencies there as far as the way that they approached it. So.
Yeah, I understand that argument completely. I mean, I'm 100% in the camp of, if you're going to have a rule and you're going to enforce it, you've got to enforce it across the board. I mean, and I know that they struggle with that even in school, during school hours. I know that they'll stop one person for wearing something that's inappropriate while three people walk by wearing similarly inappropriate things that they don't stop. It's like being that guy in a pack of cars that are all going 75 miles an hour, and you get pulled over, everybody else going 78, and you're like, well, what, why me? So yeah, the inconsistency, I think, is for me the biggest issue. I mean, I guess last year they had a page that had was called Stud Life or something, and had a bunch of boys with their shirts off and flexing their muscles and showing their tattoos and stuff like that, and so of course parents are like, well, it's okay to kind of objectify the boys, but the girls show a little bit of shoulder, and you cover it up with a black marker or whatever they did. Now, on the flip side of that, of course, you have an issue of modesty and the school trying to maintain some semblance of order and rules and restrictions and things. Me personally, I would prefer that we all followed more restrictive standards and things like that. I mean, I would like for modesty to be the rule of the day, but it's not, and I don't know that we can change that. I mean, the public opinion has changed so incredibly dramatically since I was a child, and I don't know that there's much you can do to change that. I think that this is going to be a really interesting issue going forward. It'd be really interesting to see if the high school continues this practice, or maybe it would have been better if they had just left the girls' pictures out. If they weren't modest, they should have just not had them in there. I don't know what would have been preferable, or if they should just allow people to wear whatever they want. I don't know. Maybe we should go back to wearing uniforms, or wearing your cap and gown or something like that. I mean, you see a lot of graduation, a lot of senior photos at least, where they wear cap and gown, or every man wears a tuxedo and every woman wears a dress of the same kind or whatever. I don't know. What do you think there, Josh? What do we do about this?
I wish I knew.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Obviously, the school district is, they make their rules, and if you're unhappy with the way they're doing things, obviously we have some pretty major elections coming up. So you probably want to go out and voice your opinion there, because that's the best way to get change is to vote for the people that are going to represent what you want. But I think. I don't know. I value having values. I want us to have values. I want us to have morals. I want us to have a certain amount of I don't know what the word is. I just want us to want to restrict ourselves a little bit, not just have a free for all in society. But I don't know that there's much we can do to stop that at this point. I mean, various organizations can make their own rules, but I don't know. I think we're sort of a little bit beyond being able to encourage modesty and things like that, because it's just not popular anymore. Nobody's really interested. So it'll be really interesting to me to watch this going forward, to see how things change and progress. And I read a number of articles. One of them stated that they talked with yearbook editors, and they said it was not an uncommon practice to edit photos that were not appropriate. A lot of schools will just leave the picture out if a photo is inappropriate or whatever. Hopefully, if they do decide to continue the practice, hopefully they will. Hopefully they'll get the word out better, send something home to the parents, give the kids an opportunity to bring in a replacement photo or whatever, instead of just sort of surprising them, and then of course making sure that the rules are followed equally among boys and girls and everybody involved. So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy how huge that became, and it'll probably go away before too long. It's not going to just continue to permeate. But again, if you're unhappy, make sure you get out there, find the people running for a school board that are going to listen to your cause and vote for the people who are going to do what you think you want done. So. Yeah, pretty interesting. Okay, so the next thing now, Heber Light and Power is asking for an increase. They're talking about raising the rates, and obviously, nobody likes it when our taxes go up. And Heber Light and Power has had a number of controversial things occur in the last few years. The most recent of which is that the former CEO of Heber Light and Power was caught embezzling from the company. His trial is I believe maybe starting tomorrow, or let's see, Wednesday maybe. Stole a significant amount of money from the company, and of course they had the big fiasco a few years ago where they increased the board of directors increased their salaries for themselves and gave themselves big paydays and big benefits packages and all this stuff, and increased the rate to pay for that, and that was a big fat mess, and they got in a lot of trouble for that. One thing that I am encouraged by now, let's see, so Heidi Franco and Colleen Bonner, who I believe are on the Heber Light and Power Board of Directors now, put together a little fact sheet. It's pretty interesting, talking about the bond debt that the company has, the added debt that they are anticipating. The bond rating has been downgraded. They talk about the CEO, the former CEO, embezzling significant money in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. They talk about the salaries, which are relatively lopsided and fairly high in comparison to other similar communities around. They've got some unsecured or unfunded retiree medical costs that are coming up. Bottom line, they've got a lot of problems over there right now. For me, the important thing for us to realize right now is that for the most part, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but it seems to me that if not the entire board of directors, at least a large majority of the board of directors has turned over. We have new people in charge. We have a new CFO, I guess is what Mr. Furness was, that stole all the money. But hopefully we have some new leadership that is going to recognize, and obviously it is being recognized, the significant problems facing Heber Light and Power. Hopefully we have different people in there now. They're going to make the appropriate changes, start turning things around for that business, and find ways to cut costs without just blanket increasing taxes to pay for the added costs that are coming on. Particularly it seems to me the most glaring issue at hand is the salary. Heber Light and Power has 36 employees who are paid a total of $3.34 million. It's 24% of the entire budget. Logan City Power has 30 employees, and their total salary is $2 million. And it's only 5% of their budget. Payson City Power has 14 employees and only has $1.3 million for their salary, and it's 11%. Both of those other companies do not have any debt. The average salary for general manager throughout in 6 Utah municipal power companies is $94,000, and our general manager's salary is $196,000 here, plus $24,000 budgeted for a bonus, and benefits are $70,000 a year. So, yeah, that's that's an issue. Really hope that they are committed to making some major changes there, because that is really out of control. And make sure that you attend those meetings. Let those people know how you feel about that. And as they start to ask for more money from the taxpayers, hopefully they will also be making some major cuts in other areas to try to be more fiscally responsible there. Lots of problems there. So, it's just that's pretty problematic. All right, so Josh, let's talk to you about your stuff. Let's get into this. I first want to start out by so again, our guest is Josh Wright. I always forget to restate who my guest is. Everybody's always, well, who's your guest? What's going on? Because no one ever gets on right at 9. So Josh Wright from City First Mortgage is here. And I really appreciate you being on. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
So just a little bit of background. We've been friends for quite a while now. I really value your friendship. It wasn't always that way though. Now we were in choir together.
Right.
And but you were a year older, or maybe 2 years older. What year did you graduate?
96.
Okay, so you were 2 years older. So you were big and scary, and I was just this little runt. But we had a good time in choir, and then you graduated and you went off to college, and then I was in one of the school plays and got a crush on a girl, ended up getting my first kiss, and she told me she did not have a boyfriend, and you thought otherwise. Turned out she in your mind was still your girlfriend, and she within 2 or 3 days broke my heart and said, sorry, I'm still with Josh, and I, in that time frame, I had people coming up to me in school, oh, Josh is gonna kill you, and I was afraid for my life.
Little did you know that I'm just a teddy bear.
You're just a big nice guy. But I will never forget one of the scariest moments of my high school life. I was over at Chris Noonan's house, and we were watching a movie, and it's late at night, and everybody kind of leaves, and you show up. We're like in his basement, and it's like you and Chris and me, and I thought I was gonna die. I seriously, I was shaking. I was afraid. But you were a nice guy. It all worked out, and ended up being irrelevant because, as most high school romances are, it didn't matter in the end. But that was a seminal moment in my high
here
school
we were
career.
trying to stop bullying and all that kind of stuff. you bring that up. Come on.
No, it wasn't a bully situation at all. But that was a pretty poignant moment in my high school life. So
I just wanted you to remember me, Mike. And it's worked.
I'll never forget. I'll never forget. So anyway, we both grew up and and married and have our families, and everything's great. And we're in very similar fields, although we've both taken kind of different directions since we first started. But you got into finances,
right.
The
Still
same
working
as
in the finances as well. But yeah,
right. And the same as I did, and then of course, we've sort of found little niches that have fit us really well, and you've moved into doing a lot of mortgage stuff.
Correct.
So, tell us a little bit about your business and what your niche is. What do you guys really specialize in?
Excellent. We've been with City First Mortgage now. I originally got licensed with them about 10 years ago. Started my career with them. Have the unique opportunity to be able to work with my wife. She's worked in the mortgage industry for a long time, and she's kind of helped me along that process. But been with City First for some time now. We took over one of their branches and have started to brand ourselves as the Midway branch up here. We're located there on Midway Main Street. It's been a lot of fun being able to work with Jamie. But yeah, as far as the mortgage goes, and I guess kind of the way that came about is I work with people doing the financial planning part. One of those biggest pieces of that financial plan is how does your mortgage fit in there?
Sure.
And so that kind of came about that way is, if we can help you save some money on a mortgage, maybe consolidate a few things, let's do that through a mortgage, be able to situate that in a proper way to be able to help with your overall financial picture. So that's kind of how we got started off with that.
Sure. So I guess, the mortgage industry has been in a pretty significant state of flux for quite a while now. I mean, things were just going bananas before 2008. I mean, people were lending out money like it was candy.
People were getting emotional about it.
Oh yeah,
about properties.
It was so out of control. But the banks were lending. I mean, they were just giving them money for nothing, and they were being encouraged by the government to do that. They were being almost sort of
incentivized to do that.
Yeah. And so, and then of course the market fell to pieces because it was just not a sustainable system. I mean, people were buying a house and putting in granite countertops and then selling it for $100,000 more than they bought it for the next year. And that was happening like year after year on the same houses. And,
right.
and it was just getting so out of control. So everything fell apart. The economy went kaput. And now we're trying to dig our way out. But things have still kind of remained pretty crazy in the mortgage industry. What are some of the most significant changes?
You're exactly right, Mike. Over the last several years, as we saw the housing market crash and come down and values come down, a lot of people got stuck in a lot of those homes because they were doing exactly what you just said, as far as trying to get into homes, maybe do a few things, hold it for a little bit, and then turn and flip it for a profit. Obviously, that was one of the biggest things that happened was with values. A lot of people got stuck with those things, ended up having to leave those, foreclose on a lot of properties, some of those types of things. But over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of regulation come about,
Mm-hmm.
Tightened up a lot of things. But at the same time, where we lost a lot of the programs and they kind of restricted us down to just a few basic things, they have started to relax a little bit as far as the number of programs that are available, giving us the opportunity again to be able to use some of those products that are out there. And so it's in a way has relaxed a little bit, but with just a lot of more regulation and some of those things that come with that. So
Sure. Now, where are home values in comparison to, let's say, maybe like 2004, 2005, before things got out of control? I mean, are we about that level, or are we closer to the 2007, 2008 levels?
I think you're seeing where people are kind of getting into that mode again of kind of overinflating some of these properties. I wouldn't say that we're quite there yet, but we have seen that people kind of getting in a little bit of a bidding war over properties, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of overinflates, I think, at times some of those properties, and it has come back some, but like I said, I don't think we're back to those high levels that we were quite yet. So
Right.
Hopefully it doesn't continue to go down that path. Otherwise, we may see a similar reaction as far as what happened a few years back.
Yeah, I mean, I've been genuinely concerned to see things rebound, especially in the last year or two,
Right.
the way they have, at least as far as values go.
Well, I think you see where rates are still sitting the way that they are. The rates are still really low, and so people, I think, are still looking at trying to get into some of those things. And as people see some of these things come on the market, some of these houses that are popping up, they want them.
Mm-hmm.
Where they can still get those low rates and be able to use that maybe as an investment property or get into another home. And so you see that to where you have seen that increase maybe a little bit faster than you would want to see it as a
Right.
kind of a healthy growth.
Right. So what do you guys do as far as, are you, like, do you kind of shop around, or do you have a main kind of lender that you go through, or how does that work?
Yeah, City First is what we call a correspondent lender, which means that we process and underwrite for several different companies, which is different from say a broker. You may be familiar with what a broker is. They go out and
Sure.
they broker and they go directly to those companies. At City First, we have underwriters that underwrite for all of our companies. We have several lenders. We have a lot of the big ones that you've heard of.
Okay.
Your Wells Fargo's, your Chase Bank, a lot of those big lenders that are
Okay.
out there. So we are able to go and find maybe who has the best pricing at that time. Who can we get that's going to fit the specific need that we're looking at, specific product, and compare those against a lot of the different lenders that are out there.
Okay, cool. So if people are looking to get a mortgage, if they're looking to get into a house, what do they need to do to prepare to do that? I mean, what are some of the things they need to do to get ready?
Well, that's a good question. One of the things is one of the big things I'm a proponent of is guarding your credit, taking care of your credit. I think is one of the biggest things. A lot of people come in and they don't even know what that looks like, and they're not even sure where they sit. And we pull a credit report and we're like, oh man, I didn't know it was that low, and I wasn't quite sure about this. So that's one of the big things is just making sure that you're taking care of your credit. But as far as qualifying for a loan and those types of things, they're still lending money. There's still loans that you can get. A lot of people, I think that there's no way that I can even do that. But we sit down and we help people explain, you can still get a loan. You can still get into a house. There's a lot of more things that we may have to go through to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the big things that as we talk with people, are like, man, when I got my loan, back in 2007, 2008, I didn't have to do any of this stuff.
Right.
Well, that's correct.
Yeah.
Some of those things have changed, and
yeah, it was with the
we
wink and a smile before.
correct. Yeah, you just sign your name and we'll figure it out. But there's some things that we have to run through now. Just be patient, and usually we can help you find something that's going to work for you.
So, what kind of credit rating are we talking about as the bottom end? I mean, where do people need to start working toward to get a reasonable mortgage?
Sure. There are some things that some products that have come out that we can go as low as 580. That's stretching it a little bit. But
Sure.
620 is kind of that magic number.
Okay.
To where that opens it up to some other options and things that are available there. Like I say, there are some things that we can possibly look at below that, but really a 620 is kind of that key number that you want to look at.
That's pretty much the bottom line. So what are some of the major things standing in your way of getting a mortgage? I mean, what are some of the challenges?
I think that's one of them, the credit. One of the other things is, of course, with some of the products that are still available, down payments, some of those types of things are oftentimes what people have to worry about, or they're looking at, hey, how much do I have to put down? Hey, what do I need to be able to get into a home? But there are some programs that we can work with, that we can help people get into some homes if it makes sense and fits kind of the goal or what they're wanting to do. So there's some things available that are out there, but just I think patience is the biggest thing. One of the things I always tell our borrowers that we work with is there's always one more thing. Okay, until we close this deal and we get you into your house, there's just plan on one more thing. But for the most part, if credit's good and you've got a solid work history, some of those types of things, we're able to help you get into a house.
That's great. Sorry, I'm seeing if anybody has made any comments on the Mornings with Mike page, and we're a little slow there. So
Come on, people, get out there.
come on, tell us what you think. Tell us how much you hate the dress code, or love it. Maybe you love it. So, what about self-employed people? What are their options? I mean, are they kind of stuck, or how do they go about proving income and things like that?
Yeah, well, a lot of people think that if I'm self-employed, it's going to be almost impossible to get a loan, and I think that's one of those myths that are out there as well. There are a few more things that we have to look at. Uh, Being a self-employed person, one of the biggest things that you try to do is try to show that you don't make anything. Basically, you want
For tax purposes.
Exactly. You want to try to reduce
Write
that
off as
down
much as you can.
to where you don't show that you're making a lot of money, which if you're trying to get a loan makes that difficult. And so there's that balance there that you have to try to find. If you're anticipating making a purchase like that you've got to be able to show some income in order to qualify. But you're looking for a 2-year history. 2 years is kind of that magic number as you look at a lot of things in the mortgage industry. But looking for that 2-year history to show that you're stable, that your company's making money, that you can pull some income off of that. And but yeah, it's something that we can totally work with and help people.
So there are some options there.
Totally some things there.
Along those lines of people, writing off as much as they can, it's been an interesting dilemma as it relates to qualifying for tax credits with Obamacare. People always their jaws always drop when I tell them, well, you don't make enough money to get help. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I don't understand that. And I say, well, the law was set up so that it took care of everyone who made between 100 and 400% of federal poverty level. And you're below 100% of federal poverty level, so you don't make enough money. And Utah didn't expand Medicaid in the traditional sense, and so there are a lot of people that I've had to say, well, you got to stop writing off so much, Maybe don't take as much mileage. Don't, if you're, because your income is what it is, but you're trying to avoid paying taxes, but there's nothing out there that says you have to take every deduction that's out there. And so I'm sure that people have to deal with that when they're trying to get a mortgage as well.
Like I say, it's one of those double-edged swords. You want to try to keep as much money as you can in your pocket, but at the same time, you gotta show some to be able to have somebody lend you some money. So.
Yeah, for sure. What about first-time home buying? What are there? Are there still any incentives to get into a house? I mean, it seems like our country puts such a huge emphasis on home ownership, and they really want to push people to have. I mean, that was part of the previous problem, but
Right.
but what are there any kind of programs out there, or what's going on?
Yeah, there are definitely some programs out there. We still have certain programs where you can still get 100% financing to where you don't have to come in with a lot of money down.
Okay.
Of course, you still have your FHA programs, some of those types of things. So there are definitely programs for that. I think one of the biggest incentives is that they've helped maintain the rates where they are. I think they've really tried to help maintain a low interest rate to continue to incentivize people to do that.
Right.
To try to get into their homes and buy what's out there and keep that mortgage or the housing market moving.
I saw a statistic a couple of weeks ago, and I don't remember where I saw it, and I don't have no idea if it was accurate or anything. Just because it's online doesn't mean it's true.
I heard that's not true. I heard everything online is true.
You heard everything online is true. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to Google that. But it said something to the effect that there are enough vacant homes in the United States right now for everybody to have a house.
Sure.
Which is just incredible
Yeah.
to me. Things got that out of control. People were building so many homes on speculation, and there were a lot of homes being deserted and things like that.
I know right in the middle of the housing boom, and as things were really ramping up back in 2007, 2008, before everything collapsed, there were areas like you look down in Miami.
Yeah.
Down in Arizona, a lot of these places where people like to go, especially during the winter and some of those types of things.
Right.
They were just building, just thinking that people were going to come and buy these things, and they were. I know the statistic that I heard down in Miami is that they had an 8-year supply worth of of housing for people
They
to
could
come down
stop
there and
building
buy, and
houses, and they would just
thing crashed, and they ended up with all these housing units down there that no one wanted to buy.
Right.
So
Right. Still not as bad as China, where they built entire cities that are completely vacant. Still not that bad.
They got to give people something to do, right?
Have you seen some of those cities that they built?
Think I
They
have.
built like incredible like replicas of European cities and things like that, with like cobblestone streets and little old-fashioned shops and like whole cities, with government and everything. Nobody lives there. Just completely empty.
New ghost town.
Yeah, room for 200,000 people, and nobody lives there. Anyway, so help us understand credit and debt and all of that stuff a little bit better. It's been explained to me that having a lot of available credit on actual credit cards, not store cards. Store cards, I guess, are bad because they it was explained to me as well that a store card reports to a credit bureau that you're maxed out no matter what your limit is. I don't know if that is true or not, and I don't know how much you know about
I don't know
that.
the
But
particulars as far as that goes. I know that it's interesting where we live here. One of the main things that people try to do is to get out of debt. We had an instance where we had a borrower that wanted to get into a home. They called us up and said, we spent the last couple of years really just working on our debt, becoming debt free, doing all the right things in their mind. Went to pull their credit, and they didn't have a credit score.
right,
Because the problem is they went and they paid all that debt off and then closed all those accounts down, and now it shows that they have
Nothing.
no credit available. They have no ability to pay credit. And so it actually pretty much eliminated their credit. So
right,
yeah, there's a healthy balance there. And I know, all growing up, my dad, he always told me, just stay away from credit cards, which is sound advice, so stay away from that. I think getting excessive credit card debt, those types of things is can be a burden. But
Sure.
at the same time, when you're looking at borrowing money from a lender, they're looking at your ability to be able to use credit and pay credit. And so what you want to do is be able to learn how to use that credit to help you and help you build your credit score. And so it's good to have some exposure to some of those things. Obviously, you have credit lines where you may have had a mortgage in the past. You may have a car loan. But I think also being able to use credit cards in a positive way to help build credit. There's some ways that you can work on doing that. Putting a little bit on it. Pay some down over the next couple of months. You may pay a little bit of interest, which people are going to maybe say, hey, you should stay out of debt. Yeah, I understand that. But at the same time, if you're looking at trying to build your credit, do some of those things, there's just some of those games that you have to play to be able to build that and build your credit rating.
right. But not maintaining a balance, but paying off your card, your revolving credit every month, that's not bad, is it? As long as you have
I don't
that
think
credit
it's bad.
available.
I know that from a lender standpoint, from these people that are,
Or do they want to see a revolving balance?
I think they like to see a little bit of that. They want to see that you have the ability to be able to maintain that, to be able to pay that line of credit. In talking with some of the underwriters, with some of the lenders, they look at that if you just put money on that and it's paid off every month, they don't know that they want to necessarily take your loan, because are you going to just take it and are you going to pay it off early? So that, from their
Yeah,
standpoint,
because they're not making
they
any
look at
money
it
off of that.
way.
Right.
Whether that's going to hurt your credit score or not, it's not going to hurt it.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to necessarily build it that fast, but you're going to have, you'll have a decent credit score.
Sure.
If you have those credit lines open, you show that you can maintain those.
Right. Another tie-in with Obamacare. You cannot buy a plan through the federally facilitated marketplace, otherwise known as healthcare.gov, if you don't have a credit score. If you don't have any credit, there's no way for them to verify your identity. How do you like that? So,
I learned something today.
yeah. Now, that primarily affects young people because Obviously, if you've ever had a car loan, if you ever had a mortgage, if you've ever had those things, then they can verify your identity. But if you're a young person and you're trying to go buy a plan through that marketplace to get a tax credit or whatever, they can't verify your identity if you've never had a car loan, if you've never had a credit card, if you've never had any of those things. There's no way for them to look you up because they verify you through the credit bureaus.
Yeah. Wow.
So, I mean, talk about a stupid
Are those
system.
all the people that are trying to get on those plans already?
That's all the people that they wanted. Anyway. Okay, so where are things headed? I mean, interest rates have got to go up eventually, right?
I think so. I just think that they've maintained these low credits, or not credit, we've been talking about credit, the low interest rates to help keep people coming in and trying to keep that market going in the housing area. So I think that's, I mean, we've seen for a long time now that those rates have stayed quite low. And I think just with the way things are going and trying to grow things and stabilize things, eventually it's going to have to go up. That would be my prediction. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just think that where they maintain them, where they have, it's just got to.
So if you can,
eventually. So
get on it. Try to get something now. Those rates are going to go up.
You know, and we've seen that. Most people who have had
they have gone up a little bit, right?
Yeah, they've got. I mean, they were down in the about 1% lower than where they are right now here a while back, and we saw that bump, and it's been hovering here for the last several months. You know, where they're sitting right now, but yeah, I can't imagine that they can maintain that way for forever. Just with the interest rate environment that's out there, and just whether they're trying to get things going enough to help stay stable, eventually I believe that they've got to go up.
Yeah. Okay, so where can people go to get more information from you?
Excellent. We're working on a new website. cityfirstadvantage.com is our new website that we're working on. It's currently being built, but you can access there. There's some contact information on there as well. We also have our corporate site. It's City First. It's CITY, the number 1ST.com is our corporate site. Our corporate office is up in Bountiful, is where we're located there. But our branch is located on Midway Main Street in the big Swiss building on 2nd East. So stop by, say hi, come see us. I'd love to talk to you if you have any questions. Either myself or my wife Jamie's there, and would love to talk to you if you have any questions. So
it's so great that I mean, it's we don't want the valley to just grow exponentially, but it is great that we now have access to such good sound professional advice when it comes to finance and mortgages and insurance and I mean everything across the board, you know, banking, everything. We have access to everything you need here now. I mean, you don't have to go out of the valley for anything. And if you are going out of the valley for this stuff, if you're going out of the valley for your financial advice, if you're going out of the valley for your mortgage advice, your mortgage help, if you're going out of the valley for your realtors or your insurance or whatever, for crying out loud, we have some of the best people here. You know, we really got to take advantage of that.
Yep, I agree. You know, I feel blessed that I've been able to stay here in the valley and be able to help the people here, and you know, this is where my roots are. I'm glad that I can be here and be able to help people. But I agree, we have amazing people here and some amazing businesses, and
yeah,
and you know, trying to keep it here is one of those things that I always strive to do the best that I can, and
right,
and you know, help those people out that are here and that are good at what they do.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean,
right.
I have a lot of great competitors. You've got a lot of great competitors. You know, Tom Stone does a show on here. He's a great job. There's just so many great people to work with up here, and you know, and a lot of times it comes down to personality and stuff, and people you mesh with, and but you know, why anyone's going out of the valley to get this kind of help anymore, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, if you have any questions, come see us. Mike does a great job. We do a great job. and there's many others that do. So
Yeah. Okay, so I want to get to a couple more things, and thank you so much for being on with us, Josh. And I'd love for you to stick around for a second because I have a couple of questions for you. Okay. But they're non-mortgage related.
Okay. Thanks for having me, and good luck with your show, man.
Thank you so much. All right, so no. I mean, you're staying online here for a second because I'm gonna hit you up about a couple of things. I want to get to this real quick, and then we'll get to some other stuff. But I just got to mention this, and because it's just driving me crazy. And this stuff is beyond reason to me. A few years ago, or I don't know how long ago it was. I can't remember. Let's see. I guess maybe like 5 years ago, a young Army. What was he? I'm trying to find his rank. Young Army medic decided that he didn't like the war while he was in Afghanistan, so he just picked up and deserted one day. Just walked away. So gets picked up by Afghan fighters and becomes their prisoner. Well, he deserted. I mean, that's a criminal offense. You don't desert the military. He deserted. Walked away. So they pick him up. He becomes best buddies with them, but he's still their captive. I mean, he's still like their prisoner. And he's there for, I guess, 5 years. Becomes buddy with them. He's playing games with them. They're hanging out. They're having a good old time. For some bizarre reason, the President of the United States decides that it is so imperative that we get this one guy back who deserted the military. So important that we get this guy back that it's worth releasing 5 very, very dangerous terrorists out of Guantanamo Bay, releasing them into the wild so they can go back and start killing more Americans, and at the same time letting all the terrorists understand that if you capture an American soldier and hold him for ransom, then you get to get your buddies back because we will pay to get that guy back. He also did that outside of the law, which requires the president to tell Congress and give them 30 days notice that he's going to transfer a prisoner of war. So the parents, he goes to the Rose Garden to announce this wonderful deal that he's made. We're releasing evil terrorists back into their environment so they can go kill more Americans. And we're getting back a deserter, so thank heavens we got him back. And he gets the parents up, and the dad gets up to say his little bit, and he says, "Praise Allah, who graciously allowed this to happen." I don't know, he said it in Pashto or whatever, but wow. I mean, just wow. I mean, what on earth is going on? Do I want our military safe and sound? Absolutely. I don't want them to be imprisoned. I want them to be rescued. I want them to be back safe and sound. If they've deserted, they deserve to go to jail. That's you sign up. That's what you sign up for. You sign up for, if you're going to join the military, you got to follow the rules. And so, I don't know. I hope they prosecute him. I mean, I don't know why I don't know why he should get away with it. But I mean, it's not a situation where he was just brutally beaten like John McCain was or anything like that. I mean, and the people that they released are real bad guys. So that just blows my mind. I don't know what to even say about that. But anyway, so just so you know, we're just we're negotiating with terrorists now. So okay, most important stuff of the day. Packers picked up Julius Peppers in the offseason, and so we've got your guy now. I'm excited about that. You guys took Jared Allen from the Vikings. He's old and decrepit, so he's going to be lousy. The most important thing is, what on earth are the Bears doing? I can't believe they're keeping Jay Cutler. And I know we've talked about this before, but what are they thinking?
As a Bear fan, you just hope that they put enough talent around him that they can make him shine. So.
I couldn't believe that you didn't keep Josh McCown. I was so surprised by that.
Yeah.
Next point of interest. What's going on there at BYU? What's happening? Obviously, we've got this thing going on. I don't really buy into this whole what do they call it? What are the words that they use? The
Fast and Furious.
No. What's the stuff that they when they give them stuff that they're not supposed to give them? That whole investigation thing. I don't care about that. I don't care. I think these young men.
Well, the problem is that happens everywhere. It's just
it
every
does.
Once in a while it comes out.
Right, and I think these young men and women deserve to be taken care of better than they're currently being taken care of. And if you let them sleep on the couch, or if you buy a meal for them or something like that, I just think that's ridiculous.
It's interesting how much money a lot of these athletes will make. You look at down in Texas A&M with Johnny Manziel.
Right.
They talked about how many $600-something million or something that he ended up bringing into the university. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's just a crazy amount of money that some of these kids bring in. And
what do you think about these guys getting paid? What do you think about that? What do you think about athletes getting paid?
Well, it's I don't know. It's one of those things that like I say, I think a lot of that happens anyway.
Right.
They just try to keep a lot of that stuff under the rug, but I don't know. You look at things like that to where they're making an absurd amount of money on some of these kids coming in. I don't know. There's got to be something there that. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
I would be in favor of a larger stipend.
Sure.
I would be in favor of a flat rate. It's not like Alabama gets to pay 5 times as much as everybody else. I think it should be a flat rate,
consistent across the board,
and they should be able to help them out a little bit better so that they're surviving. A lot of these guys are like homeless, and they're going to college and trying to go to school and do all that other stuff, and they're bringing in millions to the college, and
you can't tell me that some of these big programs aren't incentivizing.
Are already
kids
doing
to
that
go
anyway.
There, so and they, of course, they have been able to build a program, so it makes it a little bit more inviting for them to go, just because of the success that they've had. But
yeah, okay. The state of BYU football, though, what's going on there? They're starting to get squeezed out. What are they going to do?
I've been a BYU fan my whole life, and I just really think that there's got to be somewhere they've got to find a home. They've got to find a conference. They've got to find somewhere to go. You go into each year, and it's fun. They're able to pick up some games that maybe they wouldn't be able to otherwise, but at the same time they're not battling for anything.
Yeah.
It kind of takes the fun out of it. Kind of I'm not playing the Utes anymore.
I know. That's just now. I'm glad that that's going to start up again here in a couple of years. But it's going to be weird to not have that game. Not that it was really that competitive anymore.
Yeah, right.
No, that was always a lot of fun. But some of these conferences, the ACC and the SEC and even the Pac-12 and everybody, they're really starting to push heavily on their teams to not
go outside.
Go outside. They're like, okay, we made this deal with this conference, and you got to play these teams, and you can only have one outside conference team, and so BYU was kind of like, well, we're sort of the low man on the totem pole.
Play Navy and Army and.
Right.
And Notre Dame and the other independents that are out there.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think the big holdup is as far as getting BYU into one of these major conferences? Why is it TV? Is it revenue? Is it exposure? Because I don't know.
It could be a lot of combination of a lot of those things, and I just wish they could figure something out.
Yeah.
Get into somewhere where they're fighting for a conference championship. It just makes it fun. It just adds that extra dimension of competition that's fun for us to participate in.
Yeah, I'm a big U fan, and I wish they would have brought Utah and BYU into the Pac-12 instead of Colorado. Colorado is terrible. They're so bad. They're not interesting to watch. We don't care to play them. They're trying to establish a rivalry. It's boring. We don't care.
Right.
That would have been so great because we've got Arizona, Arizona State, Oregon, Oregon State. Sorry, Utah State, you're not quite there yet.
They're getting there. They're looking good.
BYU, Utah, that would have been such a perfect addition. So I really hope that
I think
BYU finds.
It goes along with the just the way that they run their conference and just some of the things.
No, there's no question.
As far as the fit goes, I mean, it looks good.
Because Utah plays basketball games at home on Sunday now.
Yeah. So
and that was something that BYU couldn't do.
Yeah. A lot of those things are going on there.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Josh. Thanks so much for being on.
My pleasure.
Had to get to those important things there at the end. Can't wait to see the Packers beat up on the Bears again, as long as they don't break Aaron Rodgers' collarbone. So please don't do that again, because that ruined the whole season.
I'll tell them to hold off a little bit.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much. It's really been a lot of fun. Good luck as you continue to. Yeah, absolutely. We'll as we get closer to football season or something, we'll have you back on.
Sure, let's do it.
Make fun of your teams again. So, but yeah. Anyway, thank you again for being on, and thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us here for an hour. Please let us know what you think about the show. Get on to Facebook. Check out Mornings with Mike. And give us some feedback. Let us know what's going on. Let us know what you feel. Let us know what you're thinking, because nobody reads the comments section on KSL unless you are just way too happy and you want to be turn off and you want to be depressed. So nobody reads those comments. Call us. Get on Mornings with Mike. Tell us what you think, and let's have a conversation. So anyway, again, Mornings with Mike, 1340 KTMP, Heber City, and thank you so much for being on with us today.